We'll get to that in a bit, but first, to my exclusive guest tonight, Imran Khan, who blames America's deadly drone attacks for rising extremism in Pakistani's tribal areas. Recent U.S. studies say constantly hovering drones are terrorizing the population there, and an alarming number of civilians are being killed. Just this week, Imran Khan led an unprecedented march to those tribal areas, along with a contingent of American peace activists. Even though his massive convoy was turned back before it could actually reach Waziristan, Khan says that his success was in putting the secretive U.S. program firmly on the public agenda. He joined me earlier from Islamabad. Imran Khan, thank you for joining me.
My pleasure.
Imran, what was the point of the rally to the tribal areas, to Waziristan? You took a huge number of people, a massive convoy, but they didn't get to where you were trying to go.
Well, the rally achieved its purpose. Basically, it was to raise awareness in Pakistan. Well, there already is awareness in Pakistan, but outside Pakistan, the drones are counterproductive. You don't kill your way to peace. There's 11 years of war in Afghanistan, 8 years in Pakistan. What have we achieved? It's time to give peace a chance.
How do you plan to do this? Because, look, the drones are there, whether you agree with them or not, basically because the Pakistani military and the state have not been able to tackle these militants.
Christian, everyone is sick of the militants. Everyone in Pakistan, and I know, of course, in the US, they are tired of war. We are sick of militants and this war. Now, the issue is, how do we resolve it? What is the solution? Is this more of the same? I mean, if 11 years in Afghanistan of war hasn't brought peace, or we are not anywhere near, 8 years of Pakistani military actions, all we are doing is 140,000 Pakistani soldiers are stuck in the tribal areas. Are we going to have more of the same? I can guarantee you that for 10 years this can go on. And in the US, it might be a loss of money. In Pakistan, we are going under. This country is sinking under this.
Imran, obviously in the United States as well, there are increasing questions about the drone strikes. Now, interestingly, the population approves of these drone strikes by a majority, but there are new studies coming out questioning their efficacy and also questioning how many civilians are being killed. At the same time, in Pakistan itself, let me read you this portion of an editorial that was recently written in the Pakistani edition of the Herald Tribune. Quote, "Drone attacks began and continue because of the ideology of murder and not the other way around. Pandering to the militants and being an apologist ensures that both suicide fanatics and drone attacks continue, perhaps up to a point of no return." He's basically criticizing you and saying that you're being an apologist for the Taliban and the militant excesses, and that you're pandering to them without a solution as to how to actually stop this militants.
Christian, I am the only Pakistani politician who has been throughout the tribal areas. Everywhere where there's fighting going on, which is in 7 agencies, I'm the only politician who's been there, who knows the people, who's written a book, a travel book, who's read the history. From day one, I have been trying to make them understand that there is no military solution. You're not going to win the war by sending your troops in. Drones are not going to win this war. The only way to win this war is win the hearts and minds of the people in tribal areas. I've been saying this for 8 years. Because I'm anti-war, I've been called pro-Taliban. I mean, this senseless argument that because you don't agree with military operations, somehow you're pro-militants is moronic. These people don't know what they're talking about. None of these people who are writing know anything about the tribal area. If they had known anything about the tribal areas, they would know that the British were stuck there for 80 years. They didn't win. For 80 years, they had military operations. Right up till 1947, when we got our independence, there were British soldiers dying there.
So, Imran, describe to me precisely then your strategy for winning them over. In other words, hearts and minds, winning them in a way that is not a military way.
Well, Christian, when we took this rally on the last border town of Waziristan, it's called Tank. We were given I cannot tell you the reception we were given. And people in Tank are basically internally displaced from Waziristan, because almost 80% of South Waziristan people have left, because they've been sandwiched between the militants and the army. So most of the people have left the area. So we got the reception, and I wish you had seen those shots. We were received by the people of Waziristan. They gave us this huge reception. The first time someone had come to engage them. And I'm telling you, this is the key to peace. Win the people over to your side. So what I would do is, first of all, I would call for a ceasefire. In Pakistan, I would say the army stops all operations, end of it. I would ask the US not to do any drone attacks, because they're counterproductive. Because what happens is, Pakistan army, it seems like a collaborator of the US. So the militants target Pakistan army, and there's an unending chain of violence going on. So I would have a ceasefire. I would ask the US, don't do drone attacks. We will tackle terrorism our way. We will guarantee that there is no terrorism from Pakistani side. And then once it's not perceived as Pakistan is a hired gun of the US, Pakistan army is not a mercenary army of the US, we will make it our war. We will then gradually withdraw our army, and we will tell the tribal people to go and take over the area. Believe me, they will be able to control the tribal area in a matter of months. The war will be over from Pakistan, and they will be responsible for not allowing people to go on the other side. Well, it's the only solution. Christian, there is no other solution.
I hear you, I hear the passion, and of course we're watching this military solution go on and on without end. So we know that this is a big problem. But you have been quoted as saying that you would try to negotiate with the Taliban, you would try to do exactly what you're doing, and you said you could do it within 90 days. But the Taliban have said that that's just dreamo-vision, that you don't know what you're talking about.
Christian, look, I know this whole... What is the Taliban? I mean, who are the Taliban? There's a Chinese proverb, know your enemy. Who are they? My party, by the way, is by far the most popular party in Pakistan's tribal area where the Taliban operate. So how would I deal with it? First of all, because I know, look, the ideological Taliban, you know, when you say they want to impose their system of Sharia or their way of life, I can tell you that they are not more than 3 to 5% of the whole fighters. They are not more than 3 to 5%. The majority are either they are people who are reacting to Pakistan army, perceived as a mercenary army, and causing collateral damage. Either they've gone that side, or they have always, this area has always resisted foreigners. Throughout their history, from Mughal army to the British, to the Russians, they will always resist foreigners. Eventually, of course, peace lies with the US leaving Afghanistan. But in the meanwhile, I would isolate the real hardcore ideological Taliban from people who are reacting, you know, who are either the Pashtun nationalists because the Pashtun solidarity, or who are there because of collateral damage. And then criminals have joined them. And then the old jihadi organizations made in the 80s to fight the Russians, which were under our establishment, who have revolted against our army and also called the Punjabi Taliban. I would try and isolate them. I would win the people over the tribal areas, because those are the ones who provide the foot soldiers. And once I win them over, I will win the war. That's the only way. Believe me, there is no other way.
Imran, all of this presupposes that you become the next leader, the next prime minister. Clearly, that seems to be what you're aiming for. And you and I have talked a lot about this in the past, and how you have not wanted to necessarily enter government because you believe government is corrupt and the system is corrupt. What is going to change? What is going to make you make whatever deals and strategies to win, and if necessary, make a coalition to be prime minister? Do you think now is the time?
Christian, and I hope you come and cover this election. My party, Tehreek-e-Insaf, will sweep the elections. Our membership has crossed 10 million. It's unheard of. Membership 10 million. The entire youth vote in Pakistan is with Tehreek-e-Insaf, my party. There are 40 million new voters who are going to vote for the first time ever total vote bank is about 85 million. So 40 million young people all wanting a change. It's the only party that is out of government. All the major parties are in government. The moment the election campaign starts, Tehreek-e-Insaf will sweep Pakistan, my party. It'll sweep Pakistan because people want a change. They have seen all the parties over and over again. The parties are riddled with corruption, have failed to provide governance, maximum unemployment, inflation, lawlessness. So people will vote for change, and change is the party of my party, which is the youngest party. And I think in the elections, we will win the elections, we'll sweep the elections, but we do not want to come in a coalition, because coalition means that you will have to compromise and compromise with the status quo. We are an anti-status quo party. We cannot bring change by compromising with one of the parties which is part of the status quo and power. So we will fight alone. If we get a clear majority, we will form government, otherwise we'll sit in the opposition.
You must be watching the US elections. Who would you like to see win? President Obama re-elected or Mitt Romney become president?
Well, either of them who stops this war. I want an anti-war president. I prayed for Obama because I wanted Obama to stop this insanity called war of terror. Because terrorism is not, you don't fight it with bombs and planes. Terrorism is you winning hearts and minds of people. It was, I want to have a president in the US who tries to win and hearts and minds of the Muslim world. That's how he'll win this insane war where billions and billions and trillions of dollars are being spent. What result has this war produced? I mean, over trillion, I don't know how many $1 trillion spent, a million people killed. What is the result of this war? I don't even know. I don't even know what victory is. So we would want a president in Washington, you know, who's anti-war, who tries to give peace a chance.
Imran Khan, thank you very much for joining me. And while Imran Khan envisions a Pakistan without drones and terrorists, Eve Ensler, the activist and author, is fighting for a world made safer for women everywhere. And she'll join us when we return. But before we go to a break, let's just take a last look at Pakistan. That young, bright face belongs to Malala Yousafzai, a courageous 14-year-old girl who became a national heroine as she fought for the right simply to go to school. Today, a gunman sought her out and shot her. She was airlifted to a hospital where she's in critical condition. The Taliban claims responsibility for the attack, and Imran Khan has tweeted already an offer to pay her medical bills. You can find a link to Malala's online diary at amanpour.com. We'll be right out.